What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy Royale YouTube channel. I am your host, Kevin Coleman, and we are back, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of film breakdown. So what I do on the channel, like during the week, is we talk about kind of a player standout. What we've really been focusing on with our player breakdowns and our film breakdowns is the 23 class, because for fantasy purposes and for, dynasty managers, like who's next, like who's coming up. And so I've really tried to focus on that and narrow that down. And today we're going to be talking about a wide receiver that's definitely part of that class and has been shooting up draft boards just based on mock drafts that I've seen. And that's Josh Downs from North Carolina. And this young man has looked very, very good this last season and really his whole career. Like when we're talking about his career and what he's been able to do, last year was one of his best statistical careers with 1,300 yards. And then this year, we've seen him kind of vault up. He had a little injury at the beginning of the year, knocked him out a little bit, but overall, like you can see that he's been back in there and he's been going. The last 4 games, he has 100-yard games, and we've seen this. Now the question is going to be, and just like you saw on the channel, is he a first round draft pick? Can he get in that first round draft capital? Where is he at in terms of like value? And I think that is the biggest question mark that we have to answer today. And then we're going to be doing a little bit of film. So let's just talk about what his numbers look like. So through this year, through 8 games, he has 74 catches, 847 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And him and Drake May look like the best tandem in college football, one of the best tandems in college football. Drake May looks like he's on his way to maybe a Heisman Trophy if he can win out and beat Clemson. And in terms of what he's been able to do, he's just been able to produce. Downs has done that. 101 catches last year, 39 yards, 8 touchdowns. His freshman year didn't really get on the field much. Did at the end. He had 3 touchdowns in that game. Everybody remembers. But when you're looking at just overall, like he's been able to produce. Like production is not one of those things that you have to worry about with Downs. And just in terms of value, where everybody has him right now, in terms of my big board for football guys, I have him right there in the first round. So I have him above Kayshawn, right there next to JSN in that area. And he's wide receiver 4 for me in this class right now, just based on his production and what he's been able to do. And you see the production on the screen. Like you can't take this away from him, what he's able to do in that offense. Now we're going to go through, like we always do, some strengths, some things he probably needs to work on, but then we'll go to a bit of the film and just kind of see what he's been able to do. Now, first of all, the strengths are there, and this is pretty simple. Yak ability. Okay. So like he's going to have that. He has explosiveness off the line. So that explosiveness, he stresses DBs really early. Like you watch him and you could tell that he has that quick feet. We're going to watch it out here on the film here in a minute. His ability to get out of the break. And even when he's getting kind of pressed, not so much pressed off the line, but just the defenders in his vicinity, he uses quick feet explosiveness off the line to create that separation. And you see that. And when he's in the open field, like it is hard for people to take him down. He's one of the best yak wide receivers in college football. He's got that slippery ability to kind of get out, get in the open field, make guys miss, do those type of things. Like he's one of those guys, and he catches it, you're like, okay, and he's out of the slot, right? So he's going to be a predominant slot guy more than likely. But his ability to kind of take on those nickel corners and those corners that he's lined up against and those mismatches that he gets, I think that's where his value lies at the next level. And those are the type of things that you like to see. Now, he is a vertical threat in terms of his ability to push the defenses vertically. Like I do think that he has that explosive burst that allows him to get by DBs, and it stresses those DBs, and it can stress defenses because they want to keep him stop him from doing that, right? They want to keep him round up, make sure that he doesn't get across that defense vertically. So the reason why I put vertical threat on there is because he does stress the defenses out to get vertically. Now, is he a big outside vertical threat? I think that's the question that we have to think about when we talk about Downs. But overall, just as a player, he does stress the defenses vertically. Like he can get deep plays. And I think defenses are going to have to account for that. That is, I think, where value lies for NFL teams when they see him and his ability to play. That is, I think, the area like they're going to highlight. I think that's a strength for his. Now, as far as weaknesses, and I hate saying weaknesses, I think his size is going to be a real concern. I think just not a concern, but 5'10", 175 is what he's listed at. What is that size going to be, right? So, like, I think catch point, can he get up and go get it against physical corners? And I think that's the area that he's struggled with on film. He has struggled with film, like his physicality when he gets out in the routes and he gets bumped off his routes. Like we've seen that. Now against ACC corners, not so much. NFL corners are going to be a different story. So the question is, will that strength and size hurt him as an NFL producer, right? Like I think he does struggle sometimes when he gets hit off of there. There are other times where he doesn't. So there is some good ceiling work there. Like he could probably get better. His versatility is all like we like our wide receivers to be inside out. He's not going to be that. He's going to be a strictly probably slot guy based on his size, what he's been able to do. He hasn't really been press covered in college football, especially in the ACC, right? So we've seen him out of the slot working well with that with the just straight release. What does it look like when he is going to get pressed? I think that is the area where he could struggle with initially as he gets better. He's one of those guys that probably is going to be able to create separation. Where's he going to land? I think is the question mark overall. And I do that. And like people highlighted his speed as maybe being a weakness. I think he has good burst and speed. I don't necessarily if he has top speed, right? So like I don't see that top end speed, but he's got enough burst to be okay. So I'm not going to put that as something that he needs to work on. I do think he has enough of it to be successful in the NFL, but I do want to just point it out. Now, if we're going to watch the tape a little bit from his last game, that 11 catches, 154 yards, 3 touchdowns against Wake Forest, this is where we could see him stretching that field vertically, right? Over the middle, able to go stretch it. Now, he has great hands. Like I didn't highlight his hands, but you can. Like you're going to see it here. His ability to go up and go get it. Like he has that ability. And again, when you watch in this route and you're watching him underneath, so hopefully, you can see him here. He's there in the slot. So he comes off a little bit of a block, kind of lulls the defender to sleep, then goes up and gets it. Like I like that. Like those are the ability that he can catch. Like those are his over the shoulder catches, his ability to get the ball in flight, to see it through. Like those things are really good for downs. And I didn't even highlight those things, but he had those catches last year for Sam Howell. He made Sam Howell look like a first round quarterback. And that's something considering he went in the 5th, right? This again, highlight his yak. He goes down and gets it. Like there are things that Downs does very, very well. He's a very just solid receiver. Now the question is where's the ceiling? Like that's the question. And where can he go in the drafts, the NFL drafts? Again, he's going to catch it here, gets down, does a little Tyler Lockett falling down, right? As everybody said, he could score. We're going to see those type of things. And when he goes through here, that's kind of where his value too. Like North Carolina does a good job. That offense is actually pretty good at highlighting people's strengths. They just get him over the middle and say, "Oh, go make a play." Like that is, I think, where you see with Downs, like, "Hey, go make that play for us." And he's been doing that his entire career. Little rub route. Look, I love that kind of area with Downs and his ability to be a receiver. Again, where are you going to be on the outside? So he lines up on the outside, or excuse me, the slot there, and he's able to bring this in. So he has this eye discipline, brings it in, catching. Like he is a legitimate receiver in terms of catching the football. He kind of reminds me of Dotson in that way of just being that guy that just brings it down and like, hey, can he get that first round draft capital? And then he gets the right team. Like Dotson went to a good team. Olave went to a good team. These guys that we're seeing as these profiles, I think, they went to a good team there. And just how early he's going to go. Again, stresses the defense out. Yak ability, makes a guy miss. Like this, that's the Downs that highlights, right? That's the fun part of Downs. Now let's talk about his outlook and where we think about him. So when we're looking at mocks, what I did is I went through the mocks and talked about it. Downs went as early in a recent mock as 15, 16, like where we're looking at just mocks that people have been able to do. And when we're thinking about targets and he accounted for all the targets that we've seen last year, he accounted for 39% of UNC's targets, like, and 42% of its catches. Like he's a legit producer. Like when we're talking about producing and everything there, Downs has been there. So we're not worried about the production. Now, when you go to, if you guys don't know about this site, I would highly recommend it. It's called NFL Mock Draft Database. So it goes through all kinds of different mocks that people have done, CBS Sports, all of those type of things that you can dive into and do it. And the best rank for him is 15, and in 22, generally speaking, is kind of where he's at. The overall rank is 42nd. So right now they project him as a 2nd round pick, but with a good combine where he's at. So just based on where we think he's going to run, he clocked in at 4.47 in the 40 in high school. He was athletic. So if he can get in that 4.4 category, I think that his testing numbers could push him up into that first round, late first, maybe. Like his most recent mock on CBS has him going 21st to Seattle, 20th to the Titans, 29th to the Chiefs. So we're seeing a pretty good value bump right there. So shout out to them in terms of where that value's at. So Downs could be a first round, late first pick. And if he goes to one of those teams that's already good with an established quarterback, now we're talking about him as being a legitimate first round asset in Superflex leagues. I haven't valued the 111 in Superflex leagues just to kind of give you guys an idea where that's at. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to the channel. As always, hit that like and subscribe button. Let us know what you think. Do you think Downs can be a first round draft pick in the NFL? And how high are you okay taking him if you guys are in your rookie drafts? All right. I appreciate you guys. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Let us know how we're doing. We'll see you guys next time.